everybody. Welcome. My name is Juan Vitas, and I'm the founder of Winning on Wednesday. Winning on Wednesday is a platform that meets every Wednesday at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And the purpose is to build meaningful relationships and to expand your network and to promote your brand. As I always say, people do business who they know, like, and trust. Speaking of knowing and liking and trust, I want to introduce my friend Eric Alexander from Mission Long Island. Eric, how are you today?
Hey man, good to be here. Thanks for the opportunity to be on here with you. You're doing a great job. I mean, there's
Thank
definitely
you.
a buzz with your networks here through this
Absolutely. Thank you
show.
so much. So
Yeah,
tell us a little
yeah.
bit about yourself.
Sure. Hey, I'm the director of a group called Vision Long Island. We're a not-for-profit that's focused on downtown revitalization. Promote downtowns. We lobby for funds for downtowns. We promote walkability for safe streets, and then we also try to work with communities to figure out how to plan and approve new housing projects in downtown areas as well. So we're, bottom up. We work with chambers and civics, local communities, local mayors, and we're every day is just connecting with like at least 30 different people on different issues and trying to just keep people working together, in a tough climate, to be honest.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, tell us about where did you grow up? Tell us about where it all got started.
Where I'll go. So, look, a suburban white guy, right? So, grew up mostly in Nassau County, Hicksville first, and then ended up in Farmingdale, brief stint in Bethpage and Valley Stream later. So I've kind of made my rounds around the county and currently in Northport. But yeah, I think the experience of folks in the 70s and 80s growing up, I'm a Gen Xer, proud Gen Xer, right? So, we probably have a little different experience than the group coming
Eh,
up now, but I guess every generation's got their thing, so that does shape me a little bit. A pretty independent spirit, independent minded guy. And, like most Gen Xers, we try to just solve our own problems and not complain much, ideally, about things. So just power through, and, hey, decent distrust of institutions at times,
Right.
and power bases. So, but
It,
we can talk about that later.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm sure you've
like
seen.
you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you've seen Hicksville evolve. I mean, over the years. I mean, it's changed, right, dramatically. I mean, it's from
I've
when you
seen
were
it
growing up.
devolve and then evolve now, but it's been the great thing about it is the cultural diversity is just off the charts. And the food, I think I eat my way through Hicksville as getting chunkier and chunkier. I think this suit, I'm trying to, it's but I just ate it down here today with some amazing doses. It's the South Asian community and the Hispanic community too is really they're really
Right.
strong down here. The Peruvian, Colombian, you name it,
Yeah.
and it's a
But
great community. We're looking on revitalization by the train station, some redevelopment there.
absolutely. Yeah, they did a lot of great job with our friend Lionel Chitty, as we know.
Yes,
It's so I had this a pleasure to serve on the board of the Hicksville Chamber of Commerce with Lionel, so that was a really nice
yeah,
thing. So, and they have a wonderful street festival even coming up too, I believe. I think they have a
yes.
street festival coming up. They have that every year. They do that. Oh, they do a phenomenal job. And also
We'll have a
they,
booth there. Vision will have a booth there because we
oh,
were
really?
part of the revitalization with Lionel and the chamber and the civic, the community council for 13 years now. So it's been a journey.
Wow. So tell us about that. When you were little, like, what did you have any ideas, or what did you have any aspirations of becoming when you were, when say 7? Did you have any
I
ideas?
I have one older brother who was a auto mechanic at the time. He ended up running a hospital many years later, so he definitely evolved. I have another older brother who ran a warehouse. So my world was just working class mindset. I think I at the time at 7, I think I loved the band Kiss, so I thought, hey, maybe I could go on tour. So at 7, what do you know? I mean, I
Really?
think it took me a lot of years to get really inspired, but those were people I'd looked to.
And any role models or anybody that inspired you?
It came much later. When I was 17, I heard a speech from a chaplain, well, a pastor at Riverside Church in the city, and his name was William Sloane Coffin, and he rode with Martin Luther King Jr. in the Freedom Rides, and his message was about his book is Passion for the Possible, and his message was find your calling, not necessarily your career. And that just touched me because I didn't, it wasn't a career I was really looking for, and at that age, kind of figuring it out. but the calling's a different piece, and it really brings your personal values into play with how, how can I repeatedly do what I believe in, and and help others, and help the world that you're in and be part of that. And he inspired me in ways long past gone, but his message resonates. It still resonates with me to this day. So yeah,
Wow.
a William Sloane Coffin. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. What
yeah.
about hobbies or interests? Did you have any hobbies or interests?
I mean, I'm a cigar smoker, so I love cigars. I'm a big heavy metal guy, so that really kind of is my it's almost like cigars are my meditation and metal's like my workout. It just mentally
So
tapping into that energy. I'm in a
you
band, called the Creeps Next Door. We haven't played as much in a while because of, between coronavirus and other stuff. But that when I'm not connected to my wife and daughter and not working, I'm always connected to their hobbies and interests. But yeah, cigars and heavy metal, I think, are about it.
and I was just curiosity, what are some of your favorite bands? You mentioned Kiss before, so
Yeah, I mean, Kiss was a phase when you're seven, I mean, they were all right,
there
but
you go.
when I was 8, I heard Black Sabbath on my
Oh,
brother's larger than me turntable with bigger speakers than me, and I opened up the Paranoid album and put the needle on and heard the Sirens of War Pigs, the War Pigs song, and it just blew me away. And
awesome.
years later, the singer Ronnie James Dio joined the band, and he was more of operatic. My dad was an opera singer, so my dad would be happy with the more operatic style. And I, got into that. And then many years later, I got into the goth metal band Type O Negative, which I'm a huge fan of as well. And I met the singer there, and he has long since passed. But so yeah, so those are my top three, but I love them all, Pantera,
Yeah.
Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, yeah, you name it. There's just so many great metal bands all
Oh
over the globe
yes,
now,
all the
all
time.
over the
Yeah.
globe.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And just so you know, when I work out, I have my own metal playlist, and Black
really,
Sabbath. Yes, Black
you're
Sabbath is
telling me
one of
about
the, yeah.
Sabbath. I
Black,
love it.
yeah. So I work out to
It's
that because keep me going. Iron Man, I love that. I love that hearing that because it
oh
reminds me
yeah,
of Iron Man. You know what I mean? So
it's
it's like
never tired. Yeah.
exactly. So I love it. So what did you go to school for, by the way? What did you major in? What was your degree in?
So yeah, so I was originally psychology and thinking that that would be something I'd like to do, be a therapist, or try to help people that way. I didn't like the experimental side of the training; it just wasn't for me. I was like, I'm not. This is my vibe. So I won't be in a lab. So I got into political science, and that connected a lot of the activism I was doing at the time and community work I was doing at the time. And I think I apply that to what I do. You need to know multiple levels of government. You need to be able to understand systems. You need to be able to understand, anything from policy negotiations to regulations, and you go through the gamut. But I learned a lot from my professors, but I did some internships, and but I didn't expect to use my degree, but I use it. So you grow from it. But most people don't even ask that anymore. It's like, what does your degree mean? I don't
Right.
know.
No,
We just pay
absolutely.
lots of debt.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if it's
Oh
useful,
yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So what was your first job? Like from college?
Yeah, I mean, I'd done some different work, but I guess the first full-time job that out of college I was a director of the NASA. It was the time the NASA Suffolk Coalition for the Homeless, and I was in the basement of a essentially church, and it was I think I had like 400 index cards with names on them. I had a typewriter and a phone
Oh wow.
and $400 in the bank account, and that was it. And it was like, all right, make this work. We spent a couple years turning it into a real group, and I went on to other things, but the person who followed me is still the director now, and a phenomenal human being, and does a great job, Greta Gordon. So I'm honored to have been part of the trajectory and jumpstart that group back in the day.
Wow. Wow. And what made you go on your own what you're doing now with Vision?
Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I joined this group, Vision Huntington, kind of almost not say accidentally, but I just was asked to be on the board of this group, and I was forming another group with some foundations called Sustainable Long Island, and I was working with both these groups, and I thought it'd be like 3 months, 6 months. It's not very long because I had some other things I wanted to do, and no plan. I just literally one challenge unfolded after the other, and you get to play different roles. And I realized, ultimately when Vision Huntington became Vision Long Island, I was able to really shape it, and kind of make it not say my own, but use the knowledge I had at that time, my late 20s, and turn it into something that could be a force for change, but a different model than top down, bottom up model that harnesses the power of local communities to make change. So we kind of turn the energy on its head a little bit and get different groups of people to work together who wouldn't normally. And that was something, because I think like in my family, I'm the only person who talks to everybody. Why everybody can't stand each other half the time. It's like, yeah, so it's like there is I guess a skill that I learned, to try to get folks of different stripes to kind of come together. And I was able to do that and still keep attempting. It's a challenge though every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's different beliefs, different cultures, different everything. So it's, and it's just trying to work with commonality, and
Yeah.
it's always something like
But
that. So,
you're doing the same thing. I mean, you're trying to
right.
get all kinds of folks together. I
Yeah,
could
it's not
see some of
easy.
these calls. No,
It's
no,
not certainly
it's
that
not.
easy. So at this point, I like to call the golden nugget time, and what I'm telling you, I got to get like a some kind of sound effect or something like bong or something like that. But it just announced that this any valuable information that you would like to leave behind for others to hear. Any you want to give any examples or share anything that you want to leave behind for others to help them out in their
Yeah,
journey?
I mean, yeah, I say, look, I've been saying this for about 10 years, but it keeps getting worse. The climate we're in has most people radically distrustful of most elites, most institutions, whether it be big government, big business, big not for profit, big media. The era of brand is trust or assuming trust going into something is out the window. An era of people who, how do you say this? Well dressed people coming into your community telling you, or coming into your business telling you what's good for you is over. So we're in a place now where the first, second, and third thing on your mind needs to be building trust. And how do we do that? Right. And there's a whole lot of personal characteristics in doing that. And there's a lot of characteristics which we don't have time to get into today. But I would say that take seriously the trust gap. Take it very seriously, because people may want to be polite in front of each other, but it's what people are really thinking or really doing before the meeting or after the meeting that you need to be concerned about. And you really need to build up trust every step of the way,
Right.
and it's part of your operating platform, you know, and that's I counsel everybody on that, quite frankly. And we have to look at ourselves and look in the mirror. It's like, look, if I didn't follow through on that thing, that email I was supposed to do, or I didn't make that phone call, or whatever it is on your to-do list that you haven't done for a little while and you're not connecting, you know, hmm,
Right.
people feel some kind of way about that, so
Uh,
you constantly got to be transparent, open, communicative. It's a lot. And
absolutely.
yeah, it's a lot. We could get into more of it, but it's
But
something I like to
but
talk about because it's
but
needed.
and also just it takes time too. That also takes time, and
Totally.
people don't realize, and especially that one of the issues is people we want that instant gratification, that the instant trust built. It doesn't work that way. It does take time as well. So I
Yeah,
to
that
your
scares me when people too fast. Yeah, yeah, no.
exactly. And what I always say, people do business who they know, like, and trust, obviously, and it holds true. I mean, think about our
Totally.
relationship. We know each other for how many years? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And you run a fabulous event at the Crest Hollow Country Club every. I mean, what do you do? Every
Thank you.
2, 3 years, or now every
Well, no, so we
couple
do
years?
two a year. We
Right,
do a big
right.
awards luncheon, which is like
That
the best in class of projects that we see and individuals. So we do a nominations process on that. That's in June, and then in December, which is this year's December 1st, we do our Smart Growth Summit, which that's closer to 1,100, 1,200 people. It's all
Yes.
the 85 elected officials, a bunch of developers, a bunch of civics chambers, mayors, all the people who decide stuff in local communities. So we bring
Eh,
those guys out. It's a full day summit.
eh, and what I love is also you break it down to the towns and the villages, and you do well organized, so well organized, so you could really know what's going
Thank
on, and
you.
that you could go to these events and you could find out really what's going on. Because I was like, hey, I'm from the South Shore, from Oceanside, from Island Park and Long Beach area, and the fact that I was able to see some certain projects there that you had,
Yeah.
it was a pretty amazing. And even other places, not just even Brookhaven, you had all over different other stuff. So really very informative. And at the end of the day, I think it's all about communication and letting the public or the people know about the certain projects, certain things, and bringing awareness. I think, and you do an excellent job by that for Long Island, by the way, Eric. Just want to
Oh,
let you
thank
know.
you. Well,
So
it's interesting take. And look, and you've been out there a long time, and we travel in some similar networks. So, I clearly see the efforts that you make. And again, keeping things, and I think something we both do, keeping things positive, right? Because every day we get 30 or more messages in our phones that tell us why we shouldn't trust each other, why we shouldn't work together, why the other person's an idiot, or some other group's awful, or some other project's a disaster, or someone's being investigated, or and what we try to do to counter that in our summits, you've been at those, and I'm sure you do this with these types of
yeah,
interviews with people, is you put out positive messages of what people are doing. And
absolutely.
people are always surprised. They're like, I didn't realize people are doing so much. And it's like, it's not rocket science per se. It's just literally telling the story and presenting what people are doing out
Yeah.
there. And people can decide for themselves whether they want to be involved in it or not, or da da da. But at least they get the
It-
message of what's happening.
oh, absolutely.
Instead of hand wringing and negativity and
And
whining. Who's got time for this?
And, and more importantly, this is our taxpayers, the tax dollars too.
That's
So
right.
the fact that you're informing the public and letting people know what's going on in Long Island, it's a tremendous. I mean, that's truly amazing because again, people need to know about what's these things. So,
Yeah.
um,
No, thank
and
you.
no worries. And so tell us about do you work with any other organizations or do you network with other groups or communities? Can you discuss about that?
Sure. So we have like three functioning coalitions, right? That one is our Long Island Main Street Alliance, which is 45 downtowns. I'm the founder of that coalition, but we've got, who's part of that? Chambers, community organizations, civic organizations, individual mayors. So those are mostly local leaders that pop up and represent their community on our alliance, right? So that's if you range from the Valley Stream Chamber to the Huntington Chamber to the Baldwin Civic or Association. I can go on and on and on. We don't have time, but so mostly locally based, right? Then you get to we have a lobby coalition that goes to Albany to try to get our fair share of dollars, mostly Main Street people, but it's also we have AARP, right, which is part of our coalition. We have the Long Island Federation of Labor, Citizens Campaign for the Environment, as an environmental organization. So we have Nassau Council of Chambers, Suffolk County Chambers of Commerce. So we get some of the regional groups that oversee things. Island Harvest is a phenomenal organization, a Human Service Side Family and Children's Association. So we pull in those guys, and then we have another group which is dedicated to complete streets or safe streets, making our roadways safer. And that is also AARP, but we partner with bike clubs and walking groups and safety groups in local communities and child care facilities and school districts and people that want kids to be safe when they're walking to school or walking home
Right.
from school or
Yeah.
each coalition has a different different type of member, but it's a mix of local groups and regional groups that, really produce, they either have real members and real people, that's really important to us that they're not just a paper tiger. They're actually, you really have a membership or a real backing, like same with us. We're a regional organization, but if we didn't have, 45 downtowns backing us up, what good are we? I mean, we're only as good as the people around you, so that's why it's a great question that you ask about these associations, because it's important to be involved with these guys. And we
Oh,
involved, even on the real estate side, we have the Long Island Real Estate Group that we're part of, which we find them pretty emotionally healthy, and they do a lot of charity to communities, which is nice too. So they're not your
Wow.
typical real estate effort, you know.
So it's amazing that you have all these organizations, that you have a center of communications, you could say, that you are like the hub of all the, so it's nice to know that you have all this knowledge of what's going on. It's truly amazing. And then share it to everybody, at these events that you have, that you host with Vision Long Island. So it's truly amazing the work that you do.
Well,
So tell us
I'm
a,
humble. I'm humble, and just at one point, I'm humble on this point because we take in so much information, like you. I have a Main Street News talk show, which I'm getting you on real soon,
yeah,
and we've interviewed about 600 people on that. So we push that out, and then we have a newsletter that goes out to 25,000 people every Friday. So it's a roundup of what's happening in downtowns across the island. So I'm constantly bombarded with information from different people. And it's really just challenge, like you, is information management. Just how do
right.
we get all this together? But I'm humbled. I used to be a little more brash when I was maybe as young as you. But I have gotten humbled because there's so many people doing good things out there.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Yeah,
it's like, wow,
absolutely. Yes, you're
you
absolutely
know.
right. It's yeah. So tell us about Vision Long Island. Tell us about, the history about Vision and everything. Tell us what's going on, the future, everything. Tell us about what,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
and
I think that, I guess I'll stick, look, we spent the last 25 years trying to get people to agree on how they want to change their communities. We're really big fans of local control because we believe the communities should decide things, not Albany, not Washington, not regional bureaucrats of people who you don't know who these people are and they're coming in trying to decide your neighborhood. We really want local communities to decide the shape of their community. And, some communities don't want change, so we leave them alone, really honestly. So we like to work in middle class, working class neighborhoods primarily, that need the help. And we've done downtown revitalization projects in, Farmingdale is a great example. We started in Huntington. I've been working in Baldwin and Valley Stream and Hicksville and Central Islip and Kings Park and Mastic, Shirley, Riverhead. I can go on and on and on. We've had a hand in Bayshore. So we get these projects going, ranging from housing projects to new parks to safer streets. So that's one bucket. The other bucket is lobbying for funds, like trying to get dollars for the Bay Park sewer district. It's like $1 billion that we all lobbied for in Washington and in Albany. And that was huge, getting sewers in Mastic and in Kings Park, and no one said whatever get done, so lobbying for that stuff. And then trying to get our roads redesigned, so they're safer. There's 40 traffic calming projects where the roads are safer. We have like another 100 to go. We do these audits with the ARP. So there's always a lot of accomplishment, but then there's always so much in front of you to do, I guess, like in anybody's trajectory and journey. And so sometimes it feels overwhelming, but it's great because it's never boring. You're constantly taking in information and meeting people from different backgrounds. And, coronavirus was a big challenge. Before coronavirus, we pulled everybody together 10 years ago during Sandy and, trying to rip out homes and do all that. So we understand emergency response, but coronavirus was a different kind of emergency response. It wasn't the boots on the ground the same way, other than maybe delivering food, which we've been doing with our Pink Tie Foundation, but with our friends from the Pink Tie Foundation. But it was really a lot of communication and a lot of helping people through, apply for funds. And, we got a small business outreach guy, Misalina Silva, who works with us, who goes door to door to help businesses get access to grants. He's amazing. And, we have an architect on staff that helps people redevelop their communities, as far as building projects. And, Tuan
of course.
Whitty, who's been with us forever. She's essentially my director. I'm her, she's my boss. She tells me what to do. But she's phenomenal and she, keeps it all together and she knows how to get grants too and dollars. So we've got some other folks on staff too, but they're wonderful. But it's a great team. We got a 48-member board of directors, so it's a big group that
Yep.
represents a
Yep.
large swath of Long Island, and charitable bunch, not just us, but to other local communities and other organizations. So it's just managing all of it together is a lot. And I think for the future, I think we're at a time where we gotta pull together locally because we may not trust what's above us, but we can look to our left and look to our right and lock arms and fight to hold on to the gains we've made in our communities, but also fight to ensure we get our fair share of dollars or the right type of investment, or even just maybe stop bad things from happening, you know. So it's the time now to kind of maybe not look up and not obsess over the past, but to look to each other and find really community level partnerships. And that's what I think is the challenge moving ahead. And we'll start that at the summit on December 1st, as we do every year. But as we go into the year, if we're lobbying in Albany with our lobby coalition, or we're pulling our Main Street Alliance together, or fighting for complete streets, and then we have a youth summit with like 25 local high schools that we pull together. So it's the next generation coming in. Any of those things we do is the same goal in mind, which is, hey, we've got to trust each other locally in order to kind of stand up for our neighborhoods, you know, and that's what we try to do with Vision, you know.
Wow, it's truly amazing, Eric. That's wow. And if people want to learn more about you, what's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, so you know, I think our website, you know, you did our website a lot of years ago that went through some changes.
Right.
originalonlisland.org, I think it's back up. We do have our Facebook is up. And then you can find us on find me on
Well,
LinkedIn.
okay.
And then also we have a Vimeo channel for all our video interviews. So we're in a few different places. Probably gotta consolidate all that. But yeah, we're out there. You know, you can call us 631-261-0242. You know, old school phone calls are fine too. You know, we appreciate that.
All right, Eric, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story. And if you like to become a member of Winning on Wednesday, simply go to our website, www.winningonwednesday.com, and sign up as a first-time guest. And we hope to see you next time. Thank you so much, Eric, and thank you for this interview. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It was a pleasure.